Alongside Coach Mora, I'm Ava Inesta, and we're here for Week 6. The Huskies will take it to the road this week, travel down to Houston to face Rice. Coach, looking ahead to this week, one of the most consistent things you say is you love a good challenge, and even when things aren't easy, you're built to fight through the adversity. So how are you taking that mentality into this week?
Well, going on the road, playing a 3-2 Rice team, obviously, we know what our record is. Just kind of, staying with the message, which is just try to get better. Let's just turn over every rock and look in every corner, or sweep every corner, trying to find a way to get better and execute better so we can win one game, and that's kind of the mindset. Just narrow the focus and find a way to win.
Like you just said, Rice has a winning record. They're coming off a close game against East Carolina. They finished the game with a touchdown in the fourth quarter, but with that, they have a very strong passing game behind their quarterback, JT Daniels. Your DBs play with a lot of fire, so I just want to know your approach with the defense this week, mostly the secondaries. Like I just said, they play with a lot of fire behind Coach Hillard. So do you think knowing the challenge of Rice's passing game will fuel the DBs to accommodate the challenge going into this week?
I think it will, yeah. They're, like you said, they're a really good pass offense. JT Daniels is an excellent quarterback. He's got great arm talent. He's smart. He's played a lot of football. They throw the ball around a lot. They've got good receivers, and it's a real challenge. And our guys, they embrace that. They know that last week we had some tough plays that really hurt us. They take it seriously. It's important to them to bounce back and play well. And we have a team this week that we're playing that's arguably as good as any team we've played so far throwing the football. Maybe statistically the best we've seen. So it's just a big challenge, and our guys, I think that gets them up a little bit.
Continuing on the defense, I want to talk about Jackson Mitchell. He's one of the biggest leaders on this team. He's been here. He's seen the ups and downs of this program. And you mentioned that this team is so close to capturing what they want. So when this team could have crumbled, how do you think Jackson's leadership has kept the fight through the adversity?
Well, I think, you said he's been through a lot. He's experienced. He's been through some ups. He's been through a lot of downs. And kind of every day, just the way he demonstrates a great attitude, a great work ethic, a really high standard for himself, the way he holds others accountable. He keeps people on point, and I think a lot of the players not only look at him as a leader, but they look at him as a guy that, maybe we owe him a little bit just because of the things that he's done and been through. And he's not the only one. There's a lot of guys like that, but he just keeps us steady. He's very consistent, and he's always working his hardest. He's always got a great attitude, and that's the kind of guy you love to coach.
We've talked about this a lot, but as each week goes by, you're visibly seeing Takeone getting more adjusted to his position at quarterback. He's making quicker decisions, getting the ball down the field, and he's getting points on the board. Against Utah State, when you guys needed a touchdown, he made it happen, and that's huge. Rice does add a lot of pressure on defense. They finished the game with a sack against East Carolina last week. So how are you seeing your opportunities open up on offense with Takeone?
Well, it's like you said, every week he's getting a little bit better. He's more and more comfortable in the offense. He's not a guy that's played a ton of college football. He's had limited snaps, and he's got the skills, but I think, it's getting those repetitions is what makes a big difference. And so the more comfortable we get, the more you see his skills come out. And for me, it's just fun to watch. I think, you gain a lot when you have a game like last week where it's up to you and the men that you lead on offense to go down and get a touchdown, and you make some plays to make that happen. I mean, you really gain a lot of confidence from that. And so it's fun as a coach to see that skill develop.
Even if your record and the final scores don't reflect it, this team is seeing successes in flashes. You're seeing the running game develop with Victor and Cam, and the guys are playing with more certainty. So you're working towards playing a more complete game, and the toughness of this team is definitely showing. So in terms of the team's determination, what are you seeing from them as we're getting close to the halfway mark of the season?
Yeah, it'd be easy to just kind of get going to the tank a little bit when things aren't going well and you're working so hard. but I just haven't seen a change in their attitude or their work ethic or their fight or their willingness to do the right thing. Actually, I've seen it increase, I've seen it improve, if that's possible, and so that always gives you hope, as a coach, and it should make the players feel good. I mean, we're this close, we're this close, and we just have to close that gap, and we have to play a complete game, as you said. Everyone has to play together, offense, defense, special teams. We all have to put it together at the same time, and that's what we're working towards every week. And so we can only hope that this is the week that it happens for us.
The Huskies will travel down to Houston this Saturday, October 7th, to face off against Rice. Kickoff is at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But until then, Coach, thank you so much, and best travels down to Texas.
Thank you.